Welcome to this explainer. If you're earning a living as a remote worker or an independent contractor right here in Jamaica, you already know the absolute freedom that comes with it. But you also definitely know the absolute headache of actually getting your hard-earned cash into your own hands. So today, we're going to optimize exactly how you get paid. We're breaking down the ultimate showdown in international payments for Jamaican freelancers. It's Payoneer versus Wise. Let's get into it. So, 30 to 50 US dollars. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the flat fee traditional banks routinely charge you literally just to receive a standard international wire transfer. I mean, if you're a freelancer juggling a bunch of smaller gigs, that flat fee alone is going to absolutely decimate your profit margins before you can even touch your own money. It's wild. And unfortunately, it actually gets worse, because once the money finally arrives, you're hit with this: a 3 to 5% hidden markup that local banks quietly just bake right into their exchange rates. It's basically an invisible tax on your hustle. When you combine those hefty flat wire fees with these sneaky conversion markups, the stakes for your bottom line become incredibly real and, honestly, incredibly urgent.
Section 1. The freelancer payment problem.
Okay, let's dive into this real quick. The Jamaican freelance economy is absolutely exploding right now. We are talking about graphic designers in Kingston, virtual assistants running things from Montego Bay, copywriters up in Ocho Rios. You're out there pulling in US dollars, euros, British pounds, but our traditional banking system, it's just not built for this modern, fast-paced remote economy. It's clunky, it's slow, and man, it is expensive. And that is exactly why modern platforms like Payoneer and Wise aren't just, nice to have anymore. They are absolutely crucial survival tools for your business.
Section 2. Payoneer, the platform workhorse.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how incredibly frictionless the Payoneer setup process actually is. It's just 3 super simple steps. First off, you sign up with a valid ID in your local Jamaican bank account. Simple enough, right? Then Payoneer basically does its magic and generates these virtual US bank details for you, so you get a routing and account number. To your client sitting in New York or London, it literally looks like they're just paying a local US freelancer. Finally, once the funds hit, you just click withdraw and boom, it goes straight to your local JMD account. It is beautifully simple.
But we've got away the reality of this platform. The biggest pro for sure is that Payoneer is basically the undisputed king of platform integration. I mean, it is baked directly into Upwork, Fiverr, freelancer.com, the whole shebang. Withdrawals are super fast too, usually taking just 1 to 3 days to hit your Jamaican bank, and you can hold multiple currencies in there. But those conveniences definitely come at a steep cost. You are looking at a heavy 2 to 3% spread above the mid-market exchange rate when you convert to Jamaican dollars, plus standard withdrawal fees. Oh, and if you ever run into account verification issues, yeah, their customer service can seriously test your patience.
Section 3. Wise, the transparent alternative.
Let's move over and contrast the Wise setup with what we just looked at. You're still going to create an account with your Jamaican ID and proof of address, and you still get those totally crucial virtual account details for the US, UK, or Europe. But here is where the real magic happens, right at step 3. You convert and withdraw at the mid-market rate. That is the actual, real rate you see when you just Google a currency conversion. Wise uses the real deal exchange rate, completely dropping those hidden bank markups. It's a real game changer.
So, the pros of Wise are just massive for your profitability. You get that true mid-market rate, which is going to save you a ton of money over time. And the transfers? Lightning fast. We're often talking same or next day to Jamaican banks. However, it is not a perfectly flawless system. The glaring con here is that Wise is not directly supported on massive platforms like Upwork, at least not without some creative workarounds. Plus, if you're a really high-earning freelancer, you definitely need to keep an eye on their daily withdrawal limit, which caps out around 1 million JMD.
Section 4. Head-to-head comparison. Let's put them in the ring.
And this brilliantly illustrates the hard data. Looking at exchange rates, Payoneer is taking a 2 to 3% markup, while Wise is giving you the mid-market rate plus a tiny fraction of a percent fee. Guys, over a year of freelancing, that difference alone could literally pay for a vacation. Wise also clearly wins on sheer speed and lower flat withdrawal fees. But, and this is a massive but, look over at the platform support. Payoneer totally dominates the gig economy integrations. Wise kind of forces you to rely on direct bank transfers from your clients.
So the crucial point we need to take away here is this. There really is no single right answer. There's only the right answer for your specific business model. Basically, if your entire income relies on the seamless built-in flow of Upwork or Fiverr, you're going to use Payoneer. It's just the cost of doing business on those platforms. But if you've evolved to the point where you're pitching and signing direct clients who can simply just do a bank transfer, you absolutely should be using Wise. You've got to maximize those conversion rates and keep more of your own money in your pocket.
Section 5. Smart Strategies and Pitfalls.
Okay, understanding the platforms is really only half the battle, so let's switch gears into mentorship mode for a second. Here's a pretty advanced, money-saving hack. You can actually combine these platforms. If you're stuck using Payoneer because, say, Upwork forces you to, you can receive your funds there and then transfer those US dollars straight out of Payoneer and into your Wise account. Why? To take full advantage of Wise's superior conversion rates before you finally send it over to Jamaica. It's a brilliant little workaround. But a huge warning here. You have to do the math first to make sure the transfer fees between the two platforms don't just completely wipe out whatever exchange rate savings you're getting.
Also, your local bank matters immensely in this whole equation. The source material highlights a super crucial, localized tip. Right now, banks like NCB and JMMB offer pretty decent rates for incoming international transfers. On the flip side, though, you definitely want to avoid institutions like Scotia for these specific transactions because they have notoriously high wire fees. I mean, please, don't do all this hard work to save on exchange rates just to lose it all at the very final local step.
All right, let's rapidly run through the most common, expensive pitfalls freelancers fall into. First, verify your ID immediately. Seriously, do not wait until you actually need to withdraw your money to do this. Second, respect the spread. A 2% markup sounds kind of small on paper, but that is $20 lost for every single $1,000 you earn. It compounds so aggressively over a year. Third, always receive payments in your client's native currency. Do not let their bank convert it to JMD first. You'll get a terrible rate. Watch out for those local bank receiving fees we just talked about. And lastly, keep pristine transaction records from both platforms for your annual TAJ tax filings. Future you will definitely thank you for that.
But hey, the great news here is that the digital payment landscape for independent contractors in Jamaica is actively improving and expanding. For example, Payoneer now offers a business card that actually works locally here in Jamaica, which lets you spend directly from your USD balance. Meanwhile, Wise is just continually adding more currency pairs and integrations. The friction of doing global work from our island is slowly but surely disappearing.
So we've covered the fees, the hacks, and the tricky local banking traps. The global freelance market is wide open for Jamaican talent, and now you have the actual financial roadmap to make sure you aren't leaving any of your hard-earned money on the table. So I'll leave you with this final provocative question drawn straight from today's source. Have you tried Payoneer or Wise? Take a hard, honest look at your own payment flow today and see where you can optimize. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep building your business.